Wow, that is really good. Morning. I feel exhausted today. I am excited though. It's gonna be a very fun day. I'm actually gonna go meet up and head to, I think there's like a farmer's market at the Evergreen Brickworks. I'm gonna meet up with ABBEY SHARP, who is a fellow YouTuber. She's actually made a couple of videos and response videos about my like recipe videos and what I eat in a day. And yeah, so she's also Toronto based. So we're gonna meet up and get some lunch, film a little video. It will be very fun. I just feel like the past 2-3 weeks, Toronto summers feel like they're back, and it just feels like the city is finally alive again after like 2 years. And I've been just looking back at myself and going, how did I do this? How was this my life before? I know I'm a busy gal, and I always knew before that my lifestyle was very busy. And now that I'm back in the thick of it, I'm like, girl, I'm tired. I am just exhausted. I say all that though, whoa. Also, I think my nose is leaking. Anyways, I say all that though, and I would not trade it for the world because I love being busy. I love having a million things to do. It keeps things exciting. Here's a little brekkie, a little peanut butter blueberry toast for you. Anyways, but yeah, it's just been go with like even concerts being back, events in the evening, dinners with people that I haven't seen in forever, in-person work meetings, like all of these things. It's been a lot. Whoa. A blueberry just exploded. Anyways, today's a Saturday. Normally I take Saturdays and Sundays off, but I mean, today will be chill. Like, we're just gonna film and I'm not gonna edit anything or do any, like, we're just gonna film the video and then I'm gonna be off the clock. But this also doesn't really feel like work today. And then later tonight, my cousin's coming up. The Wallows have a concert here tonight and she's a huge fan and I like them too, so we're gonna go together. And then, yeah, that's the main plan for today. But yeah, I woke up today and it felt like a truck had hit me. Maybe I need to take some vitamin B12. I've been taking it pretty good though. Coffee is very necessary. Anyways, I'm gonna eat my breakfast, get showered, head out the door. We got a good day ahead of us. Okay, somehow turned around a little bit of glam. I didn't do too crazy of a makeup, but put some makeup on. I'm about maybe like 5-10 minutes away. I'm so excited. It's always fun to like meet people in real life that you've been like internet friends with or connecting online. And I really have no idea what to expect. I don't know if there's a market here or we're just gonna go to a cafe. I haven't been to the Brickworks in so long. And it's so funny, whenever I go to the Brickworks, my fondest, most specific memory there is when I was like in grade 6 and I was filming the TV show Dino Dan, and we had this one episode, and I think it was called like The Three Little Paleontologists, and it was a play on what is it called? Three Little Pigs. That's it. It's like, what is it? And we had shot this whole episode out there. It was so fun. And for me too, like going to a different location was always really cool. We had cool little outfits, and I just remember being so excited that day. That was my first time ever at the Brickworks. So whenever I go back, I'm just like taken back to that moment. It's gonna be a good day. Okay, so I've made it to this market and I found a little ABBEY SHARP here.
Hello.
I know a lot of you watch her videos, and when you did the initial review, actually I need to tell you, I was a bit scared. So one of my cousins actually messaged me. I guess she loves her videos. Yeah. And she's like, oh my God, ABBEY SHARP just did a whole like video on you. And I was like, uh-oh, like, and I've had people make videos before, sure, especially, you know, posting in like the vegan space. There can be some intense people that just don't enjoy the word vegan, and no. I get it. We can talk about that later. There is some bad vegans in this space. There's some
extremes.
Exactly. So I do get it, but I was scared. I was like, uh-oh. Like, and I had seen your videos before. I knew who you were. Yeah. And so I click on the video, and I have to say, you were so nice to me in the best way. So I really appreciate it. But you talked a lot, and I think it's something that I try to do too with my videos is I try to not use diet culture or just language that makes people overthink their food. My whole thing is I feel very blessed that I grew. Oh, that's not a good shot. I feel very blessed that growing up, my mom always spoke to me in that language, and I've had a very healthy relationship with food. And for the longest time, I didn't realize, I don't know why my videos always, people loved all my food videos, and I didn't understand why. I didn't have a background in nutrition. Yeah. I didn't know what I was even talking about. I was also a kid in most of my videos talking about it. And always the number one comment would be, oh, I just like how relaxed you are about food. You don't say, oh, I'm eating a piece of bread today. I've got to eat healthier, like all these weird things that didn't even come to mind.
For sure.
And I know that's a big core of what you do and like intuitive eating. Do you want to talk a little bit about your philosophy if people don't already watch your videos?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm a registered dietitian, but I try to focus on like a more additive approach to nutrition rather than always restricting and pulling things out of the diet. Because we know that we're just humans. So once we restrict or we feel like we're put into a place of denial, we just want those things more.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
That starts this kind of restrict binge cycle,
Yeah.
and it's ultimately just unhealthy.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are trapped in that cycle of diet culture. So my approach has always been to like, how do we help ourselves learn our innate hunger and fullness cues again? Get back into
Listen to your body.
Listen to your body. Get back into what actually feels good to us.
Yeah.
Let go of that diet culture, and I know it's really hard because we're just so engrossed in it.
Oh yeah.
Especially like, you know, social media has certainly made it so much worse.
Totally.
But I really want to help empower people to find that voice again and to find what feels good and to reject diet mentality. And that's what I try to preach in a lot of my videos is like, how can we add things to our diet that help us feel nourished, that help satisfy and satiated without feeling like we're being deprived of what we love.
Totally. I love it. You have your hunger crushing combos, which
Love
I've
it.
actually been way more conscious of because, again, I have no food background. Like, I feel like I did the most research when I transitioned to eating vegan because I didn't want to be deficient. My mom didn't even know what the word vegan was. She was scared when I was like 15 and 16 looking into it. So that's when I kind of started to understand, oh, I need to be taking my B12 and if I'm going to do this, because I wanted to make sure I was doing it in a healthy approach and getting enough protein and all of those things. But when you started talking about your hunger crushing combos, now I'm so conscious when I'm even grabbing a snack, I'm like, I need my protein, fat, carb, like gotta be balanced and gotta be satiated. So you've actually influenced me in such a positive way, and I never even like thought. You've made me so much more conscious in a healthy way about all those things, which I appreciate.
And that's really the goal. Like, I didn't want people to, I wanted to come up with a format that allowed people to have some structure and some guidance without having to obsess over the minute details of like macros and calories. And it's like, you know what? If you have balance in your day, it's just so much easier to get the nutrition that you need with, and at the same time kind of edge out some of those foods that are just maybe not feeling your body so well.
Oh, absolutely.
So I think it's a great approach.
Well, I'm glad you're here today on the vlog. I'm filming a little what I eat in a day on mine, so we've got lots to dive into. We just did a little lap around. This is like a market, right?
Yeah.
It's a Saturday market at the Evergreen Brickworks.
Yep, here in Toronto.
And we went hard. Should we do a quick little review of what we've got?
All right.
So we did some grocery shopping. I will follow you through there later. We got a loaf of bread in here as well. You know my favorite food. Vegan kimchi as well. You know my obsession with kimchi. So we just did a little lap around all the fresh foods. We've got a vegan noodle here. What is the dumpling-esque?
They're called momos.
Momo. I've never had that before.
They're Tibetan, I think.
Oh, I'm so excited. I love trying new foods.
Yeah.
And then we got a couple of patties here. I think there's a chickpea, barbecue jackfruit, and mock beef.
Mock beef, yeah.
Okay, good. We remembered.
We're going to have to see which is which. I don't know.
Yeah.
When we bite
It'll be a blind taste test.
Great.
Well, I hope we are hungry. Let's give this a...
super hungry.
What do we begin with? Like, do we start with the patty, or the noodle almost seems a bit more of like a commitment?
And the noodle's definitely a commitment. I mean, here, let's get this other plate out. I say we go in for a momo.
Okay. Is this like this is a fork or a grab?
I don't know. I'm not an expert.
I'm gonna do this with a fork. I don't know if this is the right way to eat this, but
we don't need that.
I'm like, I also am gonna get lipstick all over my face.
Yeah, we need
a little blot. I have this food thing I can't eat with lipstick on. It's like, it drives me nuts.
Well, I have a problem. Just the way my chin goes, my bottom lip goes right
Same.
here.
I always get the line there.
Yeah. So if you get it and I get it, we'll tell each other.
Yeah, okay. Oh, wow.
So good.
Mmm. Like cabbage inside? Oh, this is good. Momo, I've never had this. Wow.
I love the dough.
Yeah. Dough and bread, like that is my one thing.
Too.
And it's gonna sound so weird. My favorite food texture is like anything mushy, like a bit like as if I'm, with dentures and maybe in like my 70s. Oatmeal, soups, dips, like anything that's mushy and requires no chewing. Favorite food texture right there.
Same, me too.
This qualifies for sure.
Yeah, this works. Yeah, I love oatmeal. I love soups. Even when it's hot out, I still kind of crave soup.
See, I'm more of a smoothie girl. Like I convert to the cold.
I do smoothie.
But anything that requires no chewing.
Yes, no chewing. We love that.
Oh, that was good. What do you think next?
Let's try a nude.
Do a little nude.
Let's do a little nude.
Give a little swirl.
Swirly. Oh, they're short, so I mean that's as good as we're gonna get.
We tried. I know, this seems like I'm gonna make a mess somehow. Thank God I didn't wear white. I know.
Whoops.
Oh, you're right. That is a little.
They're short, so they kind of. So good.
Oh yeah, really good. I need to try the cabbage.
Yeah, the cabbage. I love a good pickled cabbage.
We were just saying how I need anything pickled. Like, you know that I love my pickled red onions. I need to actually make proper pickles. I haven't done that yet, but that needs to be on the list.
Okay.
Oh, wow. I am spilling everywhere.
So, for folks who, don't know, you obviously you're vegan, you eat plant-based. You know, how was that journey for you? Like, when did that start, and how do you, like, identify in terms of, like, your vegan truth?
Well, it's so interesting. So I feel like even the vegan scene online has changed so much over the past like 10 years. I initially was vegetarian ever since I was a kid. I don't know what it was. I can't even explain. I just had this innate feeling. I was like, Mom, I don't want to eat meat. I think it also might have been from, there was this Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen episode where one of them was vegetarian.
They're so impactful.
Yes, like the influence they've had on me. I remember, I think it was called the Challenge. It was like a Survivor-esque type movie. And then they all handed her like the lettuce and they took off the beef. It was this whole thing. So maybe it was that, and that subconsciously made me be like, I should be vegetarian. I don't know why. From a young age, I always was that way. And my parents always were so good at, like, making homemade meals for us, but they just grew up eating like the traditional Canadian kind of diet or American diet, whatever you want to call it. So when I was maybe in grade like 4 or 5, I was like, Mom, I don't want to eat meat anymore. She's like, no, you're a growing girl. You got to make sure you eat all your nutrients. And it's funny now because she's actually vegan as well.
So
but at the time, there was no information around that.
And there also just wasn't as many like products and options out there.
For sure. Even in the past 5 years, like, it's so much more convenient for me to just be out at a random restaurant and be able to like, eat something versus just a salad.
Just like a salad.
A boring salad.
Pasta with like tomato sauce.
Yeah. My mom always said when you're 16, once you get old enough, like then you can start to like make your own kind of food choices. So I think it was maybe around 14, 15. I was like, Mom, I'm gonna be vegetarian. But I also was very like, I remember having a couple of moments where I didn't understand where the line was, in the sense that, say we were at school, it was pizza day. So I would just have a pepperoni pizza and I would just take off the pepperoni, but there was still like juices from the pepperoni on it, right? Or I was having this like soup, this stew at my grandma's one time, and there was chunks of beef in it, and I just scooped out the beef, but then I ate the soup. And then that's kind of when I started to question, like, is that even vegetarian? So the lines were getting blurred for me. So I think I must have Googled something, and funnily enough, you had brought up Freely the Banana Girl earlier. At the time, she was posting all of these crazy vegan videos, and as much as I think there was so much damaging and toxic information with her, that's actually where I discovered even what the word vegan was. I had never even heard it before. I didn't understand. And like growing up, I would drink glasses of milk like as a 12-year-old at dinner. Like I was so weird about it. So I couldn't even imagine not eating milk or eggs. And I thought it was like a diet, like as in to restrict. I didn't understand that it could be like a lifestyle diet. So I honestly just went down this like crazy internet black hole. And it was funny because growing up, my mom was always like lactose intolerant and had like some issues. So I was always like aware of, like getting lactose-free milk and things like that. And then I just kind of understood, or I just kind of tried it out. And I had like some stomach issues. Like I was actually allergic to eggs growing up, even though I loved them, like loved the taste and stuff. So I was like, you know what? Like all these videos, I fell down the rabbit hole of health and maybe environmental things, all these different reasons why maybe I should try it out. So I did it, and I was like, I'll try it for a month. And then it's been almost 10 years now.
Wow.
So I feel really lucky, and I always say this, I don't know if it's for everyone. I have no background in any of this stuff. I just do what works for me. I get my blood tested, my levels are good. I eat all my colorful vegetables, and I try to eat a balanced diet, but for me it's worked, and I feel great doing it.
Amazing.
So that's kind of been my story.
That's awesome.
And I've also always been very interested in like food and cooking, so it just kind of got me into this whole new world of trying new fruits and vegetables and all these exotic fruits I would try. But yeah, that was my initial dive into it.
Yeah, I mean, I always say like I have a very strong feeling that my own children are going to become vegetarian.
Oh, really?
Vegan. Yeah,
really.
They love animals, and my son always asks me questions about like jerky, for example, like where does the jerky come from?
Right.
And I said, well, that one came from a cow. Mm-hmm. How do they get the cow in the jerky? Well, they have to slaughter the cow. And then he says, well, what happens to the mommy and daddy? Like he'll ask like those kinds of questions. Or the babies. What happens to the babies? And like I'm really like all about parenting honestly, so I try to be open, and of course he's going to make his decision on what he wants to do as he gets older. And I'm totally supportive of that.
Totally.
You know, we eat a lot of plant-based foods anyway, so it would be a natural thing for our family to do.
For sure.
But yeah, I think that thank goodness over the past 10 years we've seen such an evolution in the vegan space. But like I'm curious, did you ever feel like you wanted to dabble in some of the more kind of like fringe, extreme aspects of veganism?
Oh, absolutely. So when I first went vegan, and this was a time of like the fruitarian raw vegan, which that's what I understood veganism to be.
Right.
And it's funny because I had started posting on YouTube around this time when I was 16 when I started posting. I'm 24 now. And my first videos, I literally have like 3 mangoes for like a dessert or a snack. Whereas now, again, like I love a mango, it's my favorite fruit, but I would just have like 1 now. Yeah. But at the time I saw all of these vegans who were like the face of the community.
The mono meals.
Yes. And they were eating so much fruit. So it was so funny. I have this specific memory. I was doing cheerleading at the time and I was going away on this trip and I was, again, still like newly kind of vegan, but eating a lot more fruit.
Yeah.
I was never like raw vegan or properly that level, but I ate much more fruit. And I also didn't at the time, there wasn't like mock meats. I came from a small town. Like there wasn't like, I wasn't replacing things properly. I was just cutting out meat and cutting out those things, right? So I remember we were driving to go on the bus to go to this like cheer competition, and I was trying to like eat up because I was afraid. I was like, what am I going to be able to eat on the road when we start traveling? And I had this like whole bunch of bananas, and like I start doubting like 2 or 3 bananas at the point, which again, now the concept of eating just like 2 or 3 bananas in a row just seems like a little much. And my mom was driving, she goes, Jaclyn, like stop eating, like that's too many bananas. And I was like, well, I just need to like get enough like food in me, like what if I don't have any? And she's like, no, like that's too many bananas. So she was the one that was like kind of flagged it to me. I was like, oh, maybe that is a bit weird. Then I started diving more into like, you don't have to eat all these extreme crazy portions or raw vegan or any of these
raw tofu.
Yeah, they had all these little keywords. And then that's actually why I started posting a lot of what I eat in days, because I wasn't seeing anyone just eating quote unquote quote normal vegan.
Yes.
And not making you feel like, oh, you're bad if you use oil or if you eat bread, like all of these things
the oil-free vegan, the high carb, low fat vegan, that to me is such a problematic element of that space, because it really has encouraged a lot of people to have these really like disordered relationships with food. They're, veganism can and should be absolutely a balanced way of eating.
Oh, for sure.
But when you are like purposefully cutting out all of these already vegan foods, it's like you're not left with very much.
Oh, not at all.
For what reason?
And that's what makes me kind of sad in the sense that I felt like I was, as smart as you can be at 15 or 16, and I always came from a background of like, very balanced eating. So if I was even falling susceptible to that at that time, and all of the vegan icons were eating this way, like how can you not think that that's the right way to eat?
Right.
When that's obviously not true. But that was a big reason why I started posting, and also being casual about it. It's like, yeah, I'm eating this for breakfast, not 8 million mangoes or, oh my God. I actually get triggered back to that time. Like my poor parents, and they were so supportive too, because they like understood that I was trying to be healthy about it, but also I just didn't understand, and they would like buy all these like bananas and like mangoes for me, and those were some days back then.
I know. I think back to my own younger years when I was struggling with my relationship with food, and I don't think that my parents really knew, but they were like trying to support me and do what made me feel comfortable, but at the same time I think that they were like, is this going too far? Because like I had orthorexia, which is like basically me wanting to be healthy but taking it to an extreme. And so at first they were like, oh, this is like healthy behavior.
Right, there's good intention behind it.
But then like once they started to see it have such a big impact on my physical and mental health, they were like, oh no, did we let this go too far?
For sure.
So I think it's a really hard place for a lot of parents to know how to like support, but also like rein it in when it gets too far. Yeah.
And it's crazy, I think, even just like modern day culture, and again, people like you are breaking all of those walls in such a good way, but there's so many little sayings that we say that just also feed into all that. Even things like, oh, I'm gonna eat healthy today. Like, what is healthy? Like, food is just food.
Guilt-free.
All of these little things.
Oh, I cheated on my diet.
Yeah.
Like, it's pervasive.
Totally.
We can't get away from it.
Well, and what's so interesting too is since posting all these food videos or recipe videos or little vegan videos online, it's actually made me more hyper conscious, almost in a bad way, of people being like, oh wow, she either eats so much or she doesn't eat enough. Like everyone's opinion is so opposite, none of it makes sense. And then it makes me go, oh, like, am I posting is this not enough? Is this a bad example? It's like, well, that's just what I wanted to eat that day. Every day's different. Like, it made me hyper conscious. And again, not to a point that it ever got bad, but it is crazy. And there's no winning online also.
And there is no winning online. And I feel the same way. Like, I eat intuitively. I feel very confident in the fact that I'm eating what I need to eat.
Right.
And I still, when I post something, I'm like, is somebody going to say that wasn't enough? Is someone going to say that was like so much I'm binging?
Right.
It's like, you can't win. You have a pizza and you are suddenly like promoting obesity.
Right.
Or you have like a salad and you are like promoting clean eating and a restrictive diet.
Right.
So it's like, no, healthy, balanced eating is not all or nothing. It's not one or the other. It's not black and white, and it's very hard to communicate that nuance on like a TikTok or even a YouTube video.
Totally.
And I think that's unfortunately where we're struggling in that space.
Yeah, but that's also something that I like about your videos, because I was like binging all of your videos. Speaking of, and what I like, even when you do your food reviews on other YouTubers, which I think is also important, because there's all these people posting this is the right way to do it, when who knows what they're talking about, who knows what their like background is in it. But what I do like is that you actually will look at multiple videos and be like, hey, this is like the general way that they're eating, or I've watched other videos and this is typical to what they typically like. That's what I like too, because I think it is important that I can post one day of eating, but that's not how I eat every single day.
Of course.
Like
myself included. Like I always have a disclaimer where I'm like, this is one random day. Like, I eat differently every single day.
Yeah, so we don't have a noodle like this every morning, but today I'm having a noodle.
I've never had this noodle for breakfast.
Yeah.
Speaking of noodles,
should we dive into another patty? Is
patties.
this the beef one? This looks like this could
definitely must be beef.
A little beef patty.
It's good, spicy. I love a good spice.
Flaky. It's almost like
Is it Jamaican patty?
Yes, but like the beef inside, it's like almost like a mushroom, maybe. You think? Or is it actually like a mock meat?
Might be mock meat with mushroom. Okay, this is definitely the chickpea.
Should we do? What do we do next? Chickpea? Oh, this looks good. I love a curry chickpea moment.
Me too.
Oh, it smells real good.
Oh wow. That's so good.
Yeah.
It's like a samosa.
Totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Are samosas vegan?
Depends which ones. Yeah. Well, like we're doing a sampling platter.
I know. Okay, now the jackfruit, and I love jackfruit.
I was just gonna say, I always pick a barbecue jackfruit.
Yeah.
I'm at like a restaurant.
It's so good. I like. It's never something that I make at home, but it's something that I always like.
Same.
I can't make it the same as like the vegan restaurants.
Absolutely not. Again, you know your skill set. You play with it.
And then otherwise you're just like, I'll buy that.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Oh, this is good. This one's more like juicy and
more. Because it's like the jackfruit's got some more texture. It's got a nice kicky kick.
I can't believe that jackfruit is an actual fruit.
I can't believe
the fact
it
that
either.
it has this texture is insane. I'm curious what your thoughts are on this too, because I even actually, not necessarily struggled, but there was a certain point where all my video requests, do more about eating days, do this, and like I had this very, I guess, food-focused audience, which I do a lot of beauty content too, and that was the original core of my channel.
Sure.
And then like a mix of lifestyle, what I eat in a day, things like that. And then I started to get afraid that I didn't want to be dictating other people's eating habits. Like I wanted to be a positive example and also not be one of those pushy vegan that's like, you have to eat this way and fuck you if you're not doing that.
And here's my program to show you
and then buy this.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? Like that's just never been my vibe.
Yeah.
So, but then I started to get afraid because all the comments would be like, oh, you've got such a healthy relationship with food. Oh, blah, blah, like, which were positive comments. But then I didn't know, because I know sometimes people's what I eat in a day videos can also be a source to fuel maybe unhealthy habits or just be a way to like satiate yourself by watching other people eat. Like I didn't want to fall into that category either. So I didn't know the fine line of what's me being a positive impact in the space and what's me being like fueling maybe other people's bad habits. So how do you kind of navigate all that?
Yeah, it's a really great question, and I do try to focus on a lot of the feedback that I get from my audience.
Yeah.
And to this point, I've always said, and I always put this in my disclaimer, that like a what I eat in a day should not be duplicated. It should not be copied. Everyone's diet should look different. Everyone's needs are going to be so different. My needs are different on Monday than they are on Sunday.
Totally.
And, etc. And even within the day. So
Yeah.
I always put that disclaimer out there. And what I want to do is really just help people see my what I eat in a days as inspiration.
Totally.
It's just food ideas, like no different than like a collection of recipes that you're sharing.
Right.
So these are just the 3 or 4 or 5 recipes that I ate that day.
Yeah.
And I also like to showcase the fact that I don't always make every single meal from scratch every day, because I think that there's a lot of pressure. Like I also feel pressure, and I'm like well aware of these expectations. That I often feel pressure that like I see people's what I eat in a days, and they're like making beautiful smoothie bowls for breakfast, and then they're making like these elaborate meals from scratch for lunch. I haven't made a lunch from scratch in years. I just eat whatever I can find in the fridge quickly, or like whatever someone's feeding me, or leftovers, or whatever my kids are eating, etc. Because that's not realistic for most people. And I think a lot of folks who watch my channel feel very overwhelmed when they see a lot of creators who are posting these like really elaborate, expensive, often days of eating, and they're feeling like, oh my gosh, I am clearly not doing enough. I'm not going to Pilates and going for a run every day.
It's the that girl.
The that girl.
The that girl lifestyle.
It's so pervasive, and it's so problematic because it reinforces this false narrative that we have to be more productive. We need to be doing more all day, every day. The that girl movement doesn't leave any room in your life for just normal daily living.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people, I have a family. I don't have time to be fucking meditating and writing in my gratitude journal every morning.
Yeah.
Like I'm dealing with screaming children who want their breakfast on the table.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that for me, my videos have just served as like a way to normalize a basic, normal, mundane life.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's messy, sometimes it's imperfect, sometimes there's takeout, sometimes there's leftovers, sometimes there's cheap meals, and sometimes, like, cheap, not cheat. Cheap meals.
Be careful with that one.
Gotta clarify.
Subtitles on.
Yeah, subtitles. We gotta correct that one. But yeah, I want to just teach people that every day does not need to be perfect.
Yeah, I love that.
And even in my reviews, I always say, like, my comments are not actually directed at the creators specifically, because I don't know them. They're not my client. I don't know what they eat every other day that they're not posting.
Yeah.
I don't know what their specific needs are because they're not my patient or client. But really, I want to use that format because it's so popular and so many people are using it to, like, basically, like, fuel what they're going to eat.
Totally.
And to teach people some ways to build those meals into more balanced, satiating meals or snacks that are just going to feel good to you. And not every single meal or snack needs to be a balanced, hunger-crushing combo. I just like to give examples so that people have ideas, like, you know, we're eating noodles and momo. If we want to turn this into a more balanced snack, maybe I'd add more cabbage next time, right? Like a little more fiber.
Maybe a little tofu, a little protein.
Tofu. Yeah, we need a little extra tofu. Exactly. So that would be, but like you said, this is not necessarily the best hunger crushing combo. Does it matter? Fuck no. I'm going to eat these types of meals often, and, you know, in the context of a balanced meal, because that's what feels good to me, and that's just a normal way to eat. Your body's so smart, it will make up for any of these little kind of like blips. Every day does not need to be perfect.
Totally. And that's the thing too, and again, this is coming from me with no background in this, but it's like, I also just inherently believe, I'm kind of like craving, I want something really salty, or I want something, like, there's a reason my body is craving that.
Yeah.
And again, I try to focus on eating, you know, as many whole foods and trying to eat that way day to day. But also, like, there's a reason my body is clearly craving something, so let me go get that. My body needs some sodium. Maybe I sweat a lot. That, like, who knows, right? So I think that's such a good approach, and it's honestly really inspiring. I think it's really good in the space, and it was so needed.
Yeah, I think this world is so oversaturated with misinformation.
Yeah.
There's so few creators out there that actually have legitimate, you know, training or education in this space. I wanted just to use my expertise in the best way that I possibly can to educate as many people as I can, and I'm just really lucky that I've been able to do that.
For sure. No, it's awesome. Gotta get a little popsicle, you know, it's a sunny day. Okay, I just got back. That was so much fun. Abby is so lovely. I'm so glad we were finally able to connect in real life. So, I mean, I think you could probably tell from the video, we also were filming a video for her channel. So I'll have that link down below. Go check it out. We lived a good life. We were eating, we had vegan noodles, what was it called, momo? That was so delicious. The patties were so good. We ended up having like a little mango. I had a mango like popsicle after. She had this like lemonade one. So we had lots of little bites and snacks. I want to show you what I ended up picking up from the actual market as well as like take home. My house is also a disaster. There's like things everywhere. I need to clean it. I have a single vegan pretzel and then a whole loaf of sourdough in there. This is some vegan cheese, smoked paprika ash. Apparently it's like their most popular one. And then I did a vegan kimchi. So I thought maybe I would do a little sampling. Should I just do a live taste test? Okay, I feel like I'm actually gonna eat the pretzel live because that's fun. Try a bite of this. We can try it with some of the cheese on it. Wow, that is really good. There's a loaf in here. I'm gonna cut that up and put that in my freezer. Let's try some of this vegan cheese. It's cashew based with nutritional yeast, paprika, liquid smoke, activated charcoal. This is so good. This looks funky, I'm not gonna lie. It smells really good though. Should I try some of this plain first? Oh, this is a good flavor. Paprika ash. It's so creamy. This would be like a good cheese to have if you have like a cheese board going, like dip crackers in it. I feel like I never try like fancy cheeses like this anymore. Like I'll just buy my little BioLife slices and put them on sandwiches and stuff. But it's kind of fun to have like a unique like dip or like a cheese like this. That's really good. Shout out the Wandering Jelly. Delish. It's such a day of snacking. So I ended up getting a vegan kimchi. Kimchi can be really hard to find. I love the wild brine kind. I have that in my fridge right now, but I'm almost done it. So I'm curious how this is gonna be. Oh, it smells really good. Okay, I'm gonna just do a little. Oh yeah. Ooh, it's got a kick to it. So delicious. Definitely has a slightly different flavor than the one that I'm used to. Oh, but this is so good. I'm sure I will eat through this in like maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I love kimchi. Okay, I don't know what debris is going on this napkin here. 3 of Grandma's homemade vegan chocolate chip cookies, which I actually have a recipe video on. I'll link it somewhere here. They're so good. I was just soaking up some sun. Time for a little snacky poo, and I'm gonna hop in the shower and get ready for tonight. Oh, this is a bit much for lighting. This is a bit much. Sorry, I have like a vitamin C candy in my mouth. Oh, there we go. Okay, I just refreshed my makeup. I did an outfit change. I'm gonna go meet up with my family, and then we've got the concert. I think my mom has like some sandwiches and fresh bread and like tomato, vegan cheese, things like that. So probably have a little bit of bread, a little tomato sandwich before I go, but we'll stay tuned. Drink tons of water. It is so hot out. I sweat so much. So I've drinking 3 full liter Camelbacks. Bye!